Welcome everyone. This is a impromptu Bourboner live Facebook review. Apparently no other device or software on my computer wants to record, so fall back on Facebook when I need to record a live review. So figured I would just come on really quick, and I only have one bottle to review. And tonight it is Treaty Oak Red-Handed Rye Whiskey, except this was a special barrel pick we did, a collaboration with Aaron Goldfarb of a whiskey writer for a bunch of different magazines, but probably know him from his book Hacking Whiskey. So what we did on this one, you can see the whole bottle, is it was a rye whiskey finished in a gin barrel. So pull up my notes here one second. And if you're not familiar with Treaty Oak, they're in Dripping Springs, Texas, just outside of Austin. I had a chance to visit there last February, and really one of the coolest distilleries I think I've been to, just as far as campus goes. They're doing a lot of really cool and interesting things. So, you know, if you've read much of my stuff or seen Sealbox, you know I like to try to experiment with some different barrel picks, and yeah, they were more than willing to go along with it. So that was cool to hear. So on this pick, what we did, it's a 10-year-old rye whiskey. It's sourced from it's Canadian whiskey. I believe it's from Schenley. So it's 10 years old, and then they have they call it their Antique Waterloo Gin, that they take their gin, they age it in new charred oak barrels, so basically a bourbon barrel, and they age their gin for 18 to 24 months, which is probably the longest I've seen an aged gin. So they take the gin barrel, after they dump the gin out, then we put the rye whiskey back into the gin barrel to age for another year. So Canadian rye whiskey finished in a gin barrel. As far as I can tell, this is the only rye whiskey finished in a gin barrel. If you know of any others, please let me know. But done some pretty extensive searches through the Googles, and I don't see anything else. So I'm excited to get this one released. It is available on Sealbox, and so if you're looking for a bottle, you can check it out there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. And with this one, you know, with all the finishes and you see a lot of younger whiskeys going in there, almost trying to cover something up, or they're only going into the secondary barrels for 3 to 6 months. And usually the rum guys will talk more about this, and they say really you're just getting more of the residual flavor from what's left in the barrel. You're not actually interacting with the wood enough. But you step into 12 months, you have some real aging, especially in Texas, where they get the hot summers and much higher heat throughout the year. So I'm excited to try this one. So the initial nose, it's kind of sweet. I get a little bit of the juniper note, and I'm not sure if that's power of suggestion or what, but I do get a little bit of the juniper note, but there's a lot of different spice in there. There's a little bit of the baking spice. There's definitely some like caramelized apples. A little bit of melon, almost like a honeydew note. Really interesting. Yeah, a lot of fruitiness, just that. And I put this in my tasting notes before, whenever I was doing this earlier, and this is a note I've never quite gotten, so I'm not sure if it's a real note, but it's almost like a cucumber water note, where it's just kind of that light, crisp, not quite fruity, but almost vegetal note, which is really kind of weird. But I guess when you mix a rye whiskey with a barrel that has been holding gin for 1.5 to 2 years, you're going to get some different notes. Yeah, coming back, a lot of citrus, a lot of orange peel, lemon peel, a little bit of lime zest. but some nice sweetness, a little bit of honey. The finish is a little short, but I feel like the gin notes come through in the finish. And Treaty Oak, they have a pretty interesting gin. They use a bunch of different. They use a lot of different botanicals that people aren't used to. I think one of them, they use pecan and some other interesting ones that I'll pull it up really quick that you don't see a lot. So here's their botanical list: lavender, rosemary, pecans, anise, citrus from the Rio Grande Valley, grapefruit, lemon, orange peel, along with juniper, coriander seed, ginger, and licorice root. So you don't see a lot of those, especially the pecan, the grapefruit, citrus. You see orange and lemon popping up in some gin these days, but all that kind of plays together really well. I think you have the spiciness of the gin, the spiciness of the rye whiskey, but it really doesn't get outshined by when I was really nervous about coming into this it was just going to taste like gin with a little bit of rye spice on the back end, but I feel like both really come through nicely. Yeah, because there's plenty of sweetness. It's not nearly as dry as you would think it would be. So obviously I'm a little biased because I worked on this project for a long time with Aaron and the guys at Treaty Oak. But it's really tasty. Hopefully maybe we'll see some more rye whiskey finished in gin barrels after this one. So if you're looking for a bottle, check out sealbox.com. That's SEELBACHS. And thanks for joining me on this quick review tonight.